morning, Prepper Nation. John here. Quick thank you to Alan and Lynn for the coffee this morning. It is truly appreciated. I also wanted to remind you folks out there in the nation, it's Saturday morning, which means God willing and the internet company willing, we have Shotgun Saturday night tonight, our weekly live stream here at Prepper Nation, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Huge show planned, folks, because we missed out last week. What could this be? A mysterious train rolling through? There's a shocker. So let's talk about socialism this morning. Everybody's favorite subject. You would think that it's everyone's favorite subject, the way the media props it up and kind of writes all these fluff pieces about socialism. I'm not sure how you folks feel about socialism, but me personally, having studied the history of it, it's a joke. And so I wanted to do a video and explain why I feel this way. Doing the video because AOC, you guys know who I'm talking about, right? Miss Cortez, earlier this week stated that she has the ambition to become U.S. president. And God love her. You know, if that's what her ambition is, she's fully within her rights to do so. Personally, I would like to see a lady president. I think this country is ready. I just prefer to have a female president that is not hiding servers in their home and doing underhanded things that they shouldn't be doing as Secretary of State. And I would prefer to have women who, you know, their political knowledge goes beyond watercolor painting in the White House. And you know, we can agree or disagree on that, but she's not exactly a political genius. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my thoughts on AOC becoming president, but I do think we need a female president. I'm gonna ask a question, folks. And I ask this on social media, and the answer is always the same. People point to countries current day. Has socialism ever worked? Think about that. Has socialism, the concept of socialism, the wet dream of Karl Marx, has it ever worked on the level that Karl Marx dreamed of? Historically speaking, have we ever seen a country in the history of this world in which socialism was fully adopted and the country is still standing? Now, again, I'm not talking about the handful of basically socialist countries that we have now, because they haven't been socialist countries that long. I'm talking about, you know, long term. Have they run 20, 30, 40 years maybe with socialism? And the answer is no. We've had several attempted, and those countries no longer exist. Again, because socialism doesn't work. We have, let me put it to perspective for you folks, okay? We have socialism programs in place here in the United States right now. This is also a talking point of people who are pro-socialism, right? They'll say, well, we have socialism in the United States right now. So let's list off some of these programs just to see how well they are serving the American people. The unemployment office. Anybody out there in the nation tried to file unemployment in the past 6 months? How's that working out for you? The unemployment office where I'm at, you have to go online, you have to schedule an appointment. The appointments are about 6 months out right now, okay? And then they call you on the phone. So in other words, if you lose your income, you basically have to go 6 months high and dry until you can even file officially for unemployment. Now, I know it's different in different areas of the country, but the idea is it's a socialist program. And when it was put to the test, now we are seeing it fail. Social Security. Think about that for a second. Now, I know these folks have earned the money. I'm not against Social Security whatsoever. I'm talking along the lines of the mismanagement of Social Security. We all know it happens, folks. Year after year, we hear the argument of we may be out of Social Security money. It's not going to be there in 5 years. There's this continual mismanagement of Social Security. And the reason is it's a socialism program. It's not going to work long term. Okay? The Affordable Care Act. Anybody remember that one? Obamacare? Yeah, that one was great. I can only speak for, personal experience when it comes to Obamacare. We called right before the deadline. Okay, I was an author full-time, guys. I called for the Affordable Care Act because I was on my wife's insurance. Her insurance is terrible because it's through a publicly funded workplace. That's neither here nor there. So I called about Obamacare and was basically told you have to pay, it was a shade under $1,000 a month. It was like $960 a month. And I'm like, you folks understand that I'm a writer. That's half of my income. And then when I'm like, well, no, I'll go ahead and decline it, they were hostile on the phone. They were like, well, you're going to get fined. And folks, I did get fined. For 2 or 3 years when I filed my taxes, the fine continued to increase. Why? Socialism. Public schools. Let's talk about public schools, right? If you live in a low-income area, you already know that most public schools are a joke. They truly are. I'm just calling it for what it is, folks. If you live in a fancy suburbs, right? If you live in a gated community, chances are your public schools are great. If you live in downtown New Orleans, probably not so much. And people complain about this all the time. They think it should be fair. They talk about equality, income equality and racial equality. You're not going to get that with socialism. What's going to happen with socialism is the same thing that's happening in downtown New Orleans. You're going to have schools filled with teachers who get paid very little and they don't care. That's socialism, folks. What about the chance of defund the police? Defund them, baby. Defund the police because we love socialism. Public police are a socialist program. Do you guys out there in internet land, nation, do you realize how silly that is? You want to defund a program that you are preaching we should have. Think about that, right? Tax money goes in to pay the police officers, okay? Now, at that point, it becomes a socialist program because you're paying for something that helps society. That's the idea of a socialist program. You pay in, it helps everyone, right? Except these people don't want police officers. The reason they don't want the police officers is because most of them are not paying for the police officers. They're not paying taxes. There you have it, folks. The big kicker. With socialism, in order to have a program that benefits everyone, you must have high taxes, period, point blank. You look at the socialism models of all of the socialist countries out there in the world today, they all have one thing in common: extremely high taxes. Now, I ask you, Joe, whoever, in his mother's basement, working 10 hours a week delivering for Grubhub, how are you going to pay these high taxes? To the people that are busting into, the Nike outlet store and stealing all the shoes before they set the building on fire and yelling socialism, how do you intend to pay all the taxes that come along with socialism? See, I think the youth, they have this misguided idea of socialism. They think, oh, I'm going to get more free stuff and I'm not going to have to do anything extra. That's not how socialism works. We sort of found that out with the Soviet Union, that, by the way, is no longer around. In order for you to get more free stuff, you have to pay more taxes because nothing's free. I'm just saying, the younger generation seems to be the generation that has become smitten with socialism. They are just in love with socialism, the whole idea of free stuff, because the younger generation hasn't spent a lifetime paying taxes. Most of these folks don't have to worry about paying property taxes, right? Yeah. Free college. Free college. But wait, I would love free college. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm at about $60,000 worth of student loans. Many of the people listening to Prepper Network this morning have worked their way through college. They have paid their way through college. How can we possibly have free college without reimbursing all of the money that these people have paid in, and without forgiving all student debt loan? Now I ask you, in order to do all of this, who's going to pay the professors? How are the universities going to keep their lights on? And of course, socialists will remind you, well, we can reallocate funds. This is a classic socialism argument. We can take funds from here and put them here. Yeah, again, that's why socialism and socialist countries historically fail. Because you begin to pull too much from this area and put it here. Because at the end of the day, there's only so much money to go around. Do you understand what I'm saying? The bottom line is, folks, if your government says they'll pay for it and they encourage you to do it, is it really the best thing for you? Is it something you want? Do you really think the government is just going to give you something for free and expect nothing in return? It's a rhetorical question. But if you believe that, folks, there's a miracle shot on the way, and they expect you to take it. Till next time, folks, this is John with Prepper Nation.